No, I hope it's loud enough. You better do it.
Okay, so, do you ever move into something?
Yes, my name is Pam Wellborn. I'm a neighbor of Emily's, and I've known her for 15 years.
When you're age?
69.
Okay, so, how do you define bliss?
I think bliss is a feeling of how you look at the world and your place in it and finding satisfaction with that. So finding your bliss or having bliss means that you're at peace with who you are and the direction of where your life is going. That you feel that you have some control over that, and that is a comforting feeling.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then my refined definition of bliss is like complete contentness and happiness with situations and who you are and where you are.
And I think that's very similar, just different words, but very much like what I was talking about. And it really boils down to understanding you, your own self, and what you need to make yourself happy, and then trying to achieve it. I think a lot of people have that feeling of uncertainty in their life because they really don't know what it is they want. They may be listening to what other people tell them they should want or what they need to be happy, and maybe that's not them. But once you have figured out what you need for yourself to find happiness, you have peace with yourself, and you're also a much more tolerant and at peace with other people because you're not trying to conform them either. You really are hopeful that they achieve the same thing for themselves.
Mm-hmm. What is your personal bliss?
My personal bliss is being at a point in my life where I am surrounded by people I love and who love me and care for me. And I think a big part of that is showing and being involved in the lives of people that I find important. So it's like anything else. I mean, if you want to have friends, you should be a friend. And it's more than just casual involvement, but showing a true interest in them. And once you do that, I think you reap so many advantages to that. And so I feel very blessed that I'm surrounded by a lot of friends.
How has your understanding of bliss changed over time?
Well, I think a lot of people think if they just had a certain kind of car, or if they had a certain home, or if they had a certain income level, or a little more free time, or whatever the item is, they would feel a lot happier. But that true blissful state and happiness comes from within, where you're at peace with yourself, and that you know who you are, and that you can forgive yourself sometimes. You know that you're not perfect, but you can always strive to be perfect. You know, as we've talked about before, I consider myself a work in progress. You know, I mean, I'm never finished, but that's okay. You know, I think as long as we're trying to strive to be better people, based on our own sense of morals and feelings and what that means, then I think that's a positive thing. And it's a worthy goal, and it's one that, as long as I'm alive and breathing, I'm going to keep trying to be a better person.
How did you know, like, when you found this?
I think at some point you sense a feeling of contentment of just being in the moment, that you feel like life is good, and and some of that may be due to that you finally develop some positive habits that are really beginning to, develop some outcomes that you wanted, such as taking care of yourself so that your health stays good. You know, you can have a lot of other things, but if you don't have peace of mind and if you're not healthy, you know, if you have struggles with that, it's hard to have a sense of bliss because you're not able to appreciate all that's around you. There's a lot that goes on, and having peace of mind is, again, going back to being comfortable in your own skin. So that means you got to know who you are, and if you're not at the place where you want to be in terms of, you know, your habits, the things you do every day, or the kind of person that you would like to be, that you know you're not yet. But the best way to change that is to start changing some of your thinking patterns on a day-to-day basis. And I've always believed in the sense that good habits are just as easy to develop as bad habits. I mean, it's just repetitive thinking or repetitive actions. And if you find yourself with what you would consider a bad habit, it can be changed. It can be changed into something more positive. But at first, you might have to think about it very consciously. Like, let's say you have a fondness for potato chips, as an example, and you know they're bad for you because it's full of oil and salt and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you say, I wish I could not eat those as much. Well, the first time you want to have potato chips, it's going to be very hard to, you know, stop that feeling. You may indulge in that. The second time, you're still thinking about it, but you're making that conscious effort to cut back. You know, I'm going to limit myself to 3 times a week, you know, or 2 times a week, or something like that. But eventually, because you're changing your thinking habits and you're changing every day, you're making a conscious effort. Today is the day I'm not going to eat chips. I promise myself I'll just do it on Friday. It's Tuesday. After a while, you don't even have to think about it. After a while, you don't have those feelings and you don't have those thoughts because you've directed yourself into another path. And so there's one small thing that you've done that made you a better person in terms of looking after your health, and it was done a little at a time. And so at some point, you look back and you thought, you know, last year I was a potato freak, you know, and now look at me. I don't even care about potato chips. I mean, that's just one little example, but you could do it with anything. If you find yourself being a tattletale, if you find yourself talking about people, or being a gossip, or any other thing that you find yourself doing that you really wish you didn't do, you can change it. And that's the honest thing. Is that no matter how hopeless we think we are, we can get better.
Can you share any moments or experiences where you felt this?
I think there have been times when Ron and I have been on some of the trips we've been on where you couldn't get any better. I mean, if I died right that very moment, I would have been living the life I wanted to live. And so that's kind of, I think, of the way I knew there was a moment of bliss is when you come to that realization that you're with someone you love, you're doing something you love, and you're enjoying it because you're in good health and able to appreciate what you're seeing. And life doesn't get any better. So, you know, I've had those moments. Yeah.
You know me well. Where do you think my bliss will be?
I see bliss. I see it involving doing something with others. You are not a person who's a hermit, and some people are. Some people are very private in that sense, and you have a private side. There's no question about it. Although you're very outgoing, there's very much of a private side to you, and I think that's what you need to nurture and keep. But you have an outside persona, and it's very similar to who you are. It's just that there's a private part of you, and but it doesn't keep you from giving of yourself to other people. And I think that's where your greatest enjoyment comes from. And you will find your bliss doing something where you can work with other people, either in helping them or entertaining them or some way that brings energy to you. And I think that's where you're going to find your happiness. In what field, I don't know, because you're talented across a variety of different things. And that's so much the joy of watching young people is you never know how they're going to turn the world to what they need to do with it. It's out there. There's so many options, and you will be able to take a few at your, few paths at a certain point in your life. And later on, you may be able to take other paths. You don't have to be doing the same thing for your whole life. But whatever skill set you pick up, you will probably be able to use it and add to it as you go through life. But I really see you doing something that involves working with others. And in what capacity, you have a lot of options open to you. And you don't even have to restrict yourself. You can multiply them. But I don't see you like necessarily being a writer, someone who sits at home alone in their studio writing a lot and not having very little interaction. I can see you writing, but I see you in a mix with other people, and so that's what I see. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's the way I see it.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me do this interview.
You're welcome. Anytime, sweet baby. And you're going to do